Hi, everybody. We're in Nehemiah, and we're at chapter 3, the very end of chapter 3. And it says in this one verse, it says, "The other goldsmiths and merchants repaired the wall from the corner of the Sheep's Gate." So the Sheep's Gate, remember Nehemiah is rebuilding the temple walls, the gates, and the temple itself. That's his job. It's what God's called him to do. And remember, Nehemiah is a man of prayer, so he's going to get it done. And so they're repairing now around the Sheep's Gate. And I thought it might be interesting to kind of look at that gate a little bit, because Jesus also does things at this Sheep's Gate. So first of all, why is it the Sheep's Gate is in Jerusalem, of course, the old city of Jerusalem. It's one of the gates around the wall around Jerusalem. This is one of the gates. There were like 7 gates into Jerusalem. And so they were repairing the Sheep's Gate. The reason it's called the Sheep's Gate is because it was just north of the temple. And it's more than likely that the sheep that were sacrificed in the temple were brought through this gate. So they called it the Sheep's Gate. And by this Sheep's Gate is a pool. Originally, this pool might have been used for water to cleanse the temple and other things, but it was originally rainwater gathered in this pool. I think later it was probably fed by some type of stream. But this pool next to the Sheep's Gate, which is just north of the temple, actually was called, we call it Bethsaida. It was called... There's lots of names, probably names that were messed up in the translation. They didn't get it right. But Bethsaida, Bethzedha, Bezetha, or Bethesda. A lot of hospitals are named after this pool. It means Beth is house, just like Bethel is Bet in house, and Bethel is house, and El is a word for God, so house of God. This is actually probably the real name was Beth Keshta, and that meant house of mercy. So Bet house, Keshta mercy. And it had 5 porticos, 5 walkways, covered walkways with columns, and it was a place that became a place where when the water stirred, it was felt that the angels were somehow with their wings or whatever stirring this water. And if you could get in the water right away, you would be cured. So Jesus is in chapter 5 of John is at the Sheep's Gate at the pool of Bethsaida. And he, or Bethesda, or whatever you want to call it. And he sees a guy there who's been crippled for a lot of years, like 30 years. I can't remember the exact number, but it's a lot of years. And so he asks him if he wants to be healed. He says, well, yeah, I'd love to be healed, but whenever the water gets stirred, everybody beats me to the water because I'm crippled. And Jesus says, well, pick up your mat and walk. And so he does, and he's healed. And then he goes to do the right thing. He goes to the religious leaders to talk about, to get cleansed, to get shown that he was in fact healed, and be accepted by the community. And they argue, their big point is that Jesus did this on the Sabbath. That's their big deal. Not that a guy who's been crippled for years and years and years is now healed, but their big deal is that Jesus broke the law. And Jesus, of course, at other times will say, well, you take your cattle out of a well. If it fell into the well on the Sabbath, well, why can't I heal somebody who's been crippled for so many years? And then Jesus tells him to go and sin no more, probably because he wasn't getting the stamp of approval from the leaders, because they were arguing about the Sabbath thing. So he's saying, okay, so since you can't get the Sabbath approval, then don't just go and don't sin anymore. Well, this is a great story. I'm showing you pictures of different things as I talk about it, because it's fun to kind of see where all this happened. But this sheep's gate, this pool of Bethsaida, it has a long history of God being present with his people, of Jesus being present. And here in Nehemiah's rebuilding that gate and rebuilding that pool and making it a place then where Jesus, several hundred years later, will come and show that he is the Messiah. So I guess the thought for today is that Jesus can heal you. Not just your physical diseases, but our emotional, our hurts, and our pains, if we listen to him and stand up and walk. Well, God bless. Have a great day, and see you tomorrow.